turning the tables. Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn now set to testify against the Trump administration. The retired lieutenant general pleading guilty to charges he lied to the FBI about contacts with the Russian ambassador. Flynn says he was told to make the call.
And according to Flynn, those discussions where he was asked to make contact with Ambassador Kislyak happened while those top transition officials were here in Florida at Mar-a-Lago.
And all these revelations coming from court documents released after Flynn's appearance in a federal courtroom in Washington, D.C. earlier today. Let's begin our coverage now with CBS 4's Kristen Holmes live in the nation's capital with the details of this developing story.
Good evening, Rick and Lauren. Well, you're exactly right. There is a lot going on, and I want to give you some breaking news here. You just mentioned this, that we have learned from those court filings that Michael Flynn was told to make these contacts with foreign officials, with Russian officials, and sources are telling us that the person who told him to do this was Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Now, we are getting some pushback from the White House. They're saying it was a team effort, but these sources are saying it was clear from the court filings that a senior Trump transition official told Michael Flynn to do this, and now they are saying that that senior Trump transition official was Jared Kushner. Now, on Michael Flynn, he is the first administration official to be charged, and he's not just a random Trump administration official. He was critical to the campaign, to the transition. He was the national security advisor and a trusted and loyal member of President Trump's inner circle. And not only did he plead guilty to lying to the FBI about his conversations with Russian officials, he's also cooperating fully with the special counsel's probe.
Former Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn pleading guilty to willfully and knowingly making false statements to the FBI. The court filing saying that Flynn lied regarding 2 meetings he had with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak in December of 2016. One of them involving discussions of sanctions the U.S. had imposed against Russia. In court, the prosecutor explaining that on December 29th, Flynn called the Trump transition team at Mar-a-Lago about those sanctions. Just one of many calls discussing conversations Flynn had with Kislyak, where U.S. policy and Russian response were being negotiated, interfering with the Obama administration. Flynn saying in court that he accepts full responsibility for his actions, adding, quote, "My guilty plea and agreement to cooperate with the special counsel's office reflect a decision I made in the best interests of my family and of our country." Congressman Adam Schiff, ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, saying the admission is significant.
General Flynn today acknowledges he told senior transition officials about this. Those people all became part of that White House. So it's not going to be that easy for the White House to simply say, nothing to see here.
The White House reacting. Trump's lawyer Ty Cobb saying, quote, "Nothing about the guilty plea or the charge implicates anyone other than Mr. Flynn."
And of course, the big question now is who else knew about this? What other transition team members were in on these calls, getting briefed on his conversations with this ambassador? And how much did Jared Kushner actually know? Was somebody directing Jared Kushner to direct Michael Flynn to make these phone calls? All of this likely to come out while Michael Flynn is cooperating with the special counsel. Back to you.
Kristen, thank you very much. This investigation has been going on for months, and the events unfolding in today's plea span weeks. Let's take a look at a breakdown here. A lot of words on the screen, but follow me along if you can. December 22nd, Flynn asking the Russian ambassador to postpone a United Nations vote. December 29th, President Obama announces new sanctions against Russia for interfering with our election. That same day, Flynn asked the Russian ambassador to not retaliate with sanctions. A day later, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced that he will not be issuing any retaliatory strikes against the United States diplomatically. Skipping ahead now to January, and 4 days after the president is inaugurated, Flynn lies to the FBI and investigators about his contact with the Russian ambassador. And then on January 26th, then acting Attorney General Sally Yates warns the White House that Flynn was lying about his conversations. On the 30th, President Trump fires Sally Yates for refusing to defend the initial travel ban. And then finally, on February 13th, Flynn forced to resign after admitting that he misled the vice president about his contacts with Ambassador Kislyak. Enjoy